Hey, and right now we are going very soon, hopefully, into the deep dark. So back from the small mining expedition, this is everything I got. Maybe it was a bit more than an hour and a half that I've been mining. And it is quite nice to get started with all of the machines that we are going to be making in this episode. However, let's start making some bronze. For that we need 3 parts of copper for 1 part of tin. Now all of this we are going to turn it into the pulverized version. And then all of this we are going to put it in a simple crafting table. 3 parts of copper for 1 of tin will give us 4 of bronze blend. And all of this we can just throw it into some furnaces. While that's doing, we can also do some clay. And this should be enough for the block of bronze that the quest requires. Smeltery components. Now the clay, we are going to use it in order to make some grout, which should be fairly simple. And then this grout, of course, we have to cook it. Now with the seared bricks, we can do a controller, we can do a drain, we can do a faucet, a tank, a casting table, a casting basin, and the rest we can just turn it into seared bricks. And that is the smelting quest. With that we basically unlocked Tinker's Construct. And we have a very nice smeltery. Now good thing I've recollected some lava already, so we can use this to fuel our smeltery. Now the first thing we are going to be using this is to make some aluminum brass. This is very important because this will allow us to make molds for the smeltery use. Now, although we unlock the smeltery, the only use we are going to be giving it for now is to make our first 14 gears, which only receipts are either casting it or using the gear working die in the compactor. But for the compactor, we already need some gears. So we do need to go through the smeltery first before we can even unlock them. The aluminum brass is just a more efficient way of making the casts. Will consume either 2 ingots of gold or 1 ingot of molten aluminum brass. And aluminum brass is just some copper with aluminum. So it is fairly better. We can grab a stone gear and cast some aluminum brass on it. And with this we get the gear cast. Now we only need to cast the thing into the gear. It will take 4 ingots per each gear. It is a lot. It is a lot of tin. But I mean, we need this. Apart from the gears, we will need 2 new colors of antimatter. We will need cyan and yellow. Now these ones, we can dissolve them. From the cyan antimatter, we will be getting mercury, indium, tungsten, and barium back. Barium is what we used in order to craft it. And from the yellow antimatter, we will get scandium, chromium, and sulfur. I think we have already dissolved a bunch of yellow antimatter in the past to make some emeralds, maybe. With this, we can craft 4 ingots of scandium and 4 ingots of indium. Now, if we grab some glass, and with all of the materials we've done before, we can craft 4 machine frames, which is the gate into the technology era. We are entering into thermal expansion. Now from here, our goal is to get 48 ingots of steel, submit 10 million Fe, and submit 1000 buckets of water. It is quite a lot of stuff we need to do. But before that, it should be quite the best idea to first set up all of the machines, at least the basic machines that we are going to be needing in order to make basic materials especially. So for example, sand, and I cannot think of anything else. But yes, I want to have some photogenic insulators. I want to make a proper phyto-gro setup to make it passively. I want to make a proper setup for energy, to passive energy, and a lot more stuff. So yeah, this episode will be packed with all of that. So for you, it's going to be a quick second. For me, maybe a couple of days, because there is a lot to craft. So, my plans for energy production, they requires quite a small preparation. I have here a bunch of machines, but we do require one special augment, and that is the clastic deposition. But for this we need aerothium. For aerothium we need a bleach powder, and for bleach powder we need bleach rods, and for bleach rods we need to spawn some bleach. Now the problem is that it seems that the spawns for the thermal expansion places variants, I don't feel they spawn naturally, neither they can spawn from coarse earth. So instead what we are going to do is going to manually spawn them. Here in the deep dark I found a mineshaft from which I got a monster spawner. Because we have apotheosis, we can mine spawners with a sick touch pickaxe. So the idea is to get the spawn eggs and use it on the monster spawner to spawn some of these elemental places. So we can get a good amount of rods until we can get more spawners, and we can we can make all of this passive. So we can passive all of these 3 rods. But for now I just need a bunch of them. I really don't need many of them. And they do have a crafting recipe, which we are going to be using. Now, however, for each of the spawns, we need one of the powders. So for the bleach spawn, we need the bleach powder. For the bleach, we need the bleach powder. And for the basalts, we need the basalts powder. This also has a recipe. We can imbue essence of knowledge or essence or liquid XP into one of the respective powders. So nether, snowballs, and obsidian to get the powder itself. And that's what we are going to be doing. I have here my XP bucket. We have liquid XP, and we can fill some XP into powder obsidian. This is going to take a lot of time, but we can do that. I've been saving some XP here in this liquid tank, so I can just right click with the bucket to get XP. I'm not going to do that. All these are crafting. What we can do is also craft some pyrotheum, I think it's called. Yes, pyrotheum dust, which is also needed in the craft for the spawn decks. And that's how we get a basalts powder. With nether we get the bleach powder, and with the snowballs we get the bleach powder. And then we can craft the bleach spawn egg, and we can craft the basalts spawn egg. As far as I'm concerned, if one right clicks a monster spawner with the spawn egg, the spawn inside it changes. I hope that remains the same, and I'm not wrong. Hopefully. So let's go here to the deep dark very quick, and let's do a small room. Somewhere here where we can spawn the monsters for now. So a small room like this should be fine for now, I suppose. So we can put the monster spawner and use it to get some bleach. And if we turn off the lights, hopefully, we should get something spawned. Is there too much light here? There is it. And we get the rods. So I'll just stay here farming the rods for a while, because I only have one spawner. So I really need to just stay here, kill, farm, chain spawn, kill, farm, chain spawn, and then I'll be back. In fact, I only needed some rods, some of the bleach rods, in order to make the clastic deposition augment. This is what I was looking for. Then for the rest of the powders, I really don't need them. I've got a bit of bliss rods because the Creothium is used on Signalum upgrade kits. And it is something that I am interested in. Yes, I am interested in Signalum. But that's going to be for later. That's going to be for later. We're going to be needing a lot of Signalum, a lot of resonant upgrade kits. It's a lot of stuff. But I think it's going to be worth it. So I'll be back whenever I have all of the machines that I'm going to be using for both a phyto-gro plus Floods phyto-gro setup for passive dose, as well as some passive energy. So it's been a bit more time that I would have liked to spend here. A little bit too much that I completed both. You should take a break, and please, I beg you, take a break. But here we have all of the materials that we will need for passive phyto-gro, Floods phyto-gro, and passive energy from pizzas. And we will see how we will do that. However, there's been some changes around the base that allowed me to do everything quite easier without much stress. And this is all of the new machines that we have. I think I've started with only induction smelter, pre-transposer, the Igneous extruder, and the manufacturing. I added the magma crucible. I added a compactor with a gear working die, a pulverizer, a die mixer, and a redstone furnace. Not only that, I've also added some upgrades to them, mostly hardened upgrades, but one or two machines have a reinforced upgrade, as well as this energy cell I've also upgraded to reinforced. Not only that, but here if we come to the deep dark, there will be here this small place which I used some drop of apple to get coarse earth, as well as created a mob slaughtery factory, which I used to get pink slime, because I needed some pink slime in order to get all of those dyes and lenses going on. And I'm also accumulating a lot of liquid meat, which I should be able to use to feed myself, but not now. Of course, I haven't shown anything of that yet, because I wanted to, to save the good things for whenever it comes, because I want to have a proper setup for mob farming, as well as a proper setup for mining and stuff like that. But that maybe is going to be for the next episode. So today, we are just focusing on phyto-gro and starting to generate a bunch of energy. With that said, let's start setting up all of this. So welcome to the place where we will be passiving, well, at least just a bit of Floods phyto-gro and regular phyto-gro. For now, we are going to keep it small until we need more demand for phyto-gro, and especially Floods phyto-gro. I'll be mostly using this setup for regular phyto-gro. We will be also producing part of the enhanced phyto-gro as well as the Floods phyto-gro. But these two, we are not really going to be using them really that much. Mainly it's just going to be used to keep up all of the process going properly. However, this system should be fairly easy to upgrade and fairly easy to make it more focused into Floods phyto-gro. But for now, regular phyto-gro is going to be more than enough. So before I connect everything, let me explain how all of this is going to work. All of this side is going to be for the regular phyto-gro, and this side is going to be for the Floods phyto-gro. However, we are not going to start here. We are going to start right here in the middle of the Floods phyto-gro. This sawmill will receive some wood that we will be growing into these two photogenic insulators. The ratio is not perfect. Mostly we should be able to add one more sawmill into this in order to make it properly. or I think it will be something like 3 phytogenic insulators to 2 sawmills, or something like that. I don't know. But this should keep up enough to for this sawmill. This sawmill, we will have a resin funnel augment. This will allow us to get some fluids from the wood we are cutting. In our case, we are going to be cutting dark oak wood, as this will give us sap, which is used to convert the phyto-gro into rich phyto-gro. So all of the process for the flutes phyto-gro will depend on how fast can this sawmill produce sap, which is not going to be that fast. Being honest, this is not going to be that fast. So this will also produce sawdust and planks. These ones we will transfer them into this side, this small portion of the line. The planks will go into this pulverizer, which will convert it into sawdust, which will go into this factorizer, which will convert it into compressed sawdust, which will go into this redstone furnace, converting it into charcoal, into this pulverizer, converting it into pulverized charcoal. The sawdust that we are producing here, we will be sending them into this factorizer right here, which will output the compressed sawdust, which will be turned into charcoal and into pulverized charcoal. The net zone will be this one. Here we will produce slag, regular slag. This igneous extruder, we will use a clastic deposition augment in order to produce sand, which will go into this induction smelter, into this side of the induction smelter. And below we are producing cobblestone, a lot of cobblestone, which together with the sand will be turned into stone bricks, as well as one piece of slag. These stone bricks I will be storing it, as it's my, the main material I'm using for the floors. So yes, having these passive stone bricks will be quite nice. But what we want from this is the slag. Now in this side, this last side, we will be producing niter. What we want is this igneous extruder, the same, have a clastic deposition augment, and we are going to be producing sandstone. If we put sandstone through a manufactory, we will be getting 2 pieces of niter. If we were to use a pulverizer, we would only have a 30% chance of getting 1 niter. So that is quite nice. A niter, yes, we can get from deep mob evolution, not deep mob learning. We can get it from this, but we are not here yet. We are not here yet, and I think this is more simpler, and simpler is better. And all of these 3 materials, the niter, the slag, and the pulverized charcoal, will go into this crafter, which will be using this crafting recipe. 1 charcoal plus 1 niter plus 1 slag will give us 16 pieces of phyto-gro, which will be buffered in this drawer. Now this process will be fairly quick, so we will have a large backlog of this phyto-gro. The idea is that in the future all of this phyto-gro to be turned into flutes phyto-gro. Definitely, that's the main idea. But as we are just starting the modpack, then this is going to be more than enough. In this part we've already explained. So the sawmill will generate sap, which will go into this fluid transposer. We will be taking phyto-gro from this drawer into this fluid transposer in order to get the rich phyto-gro. And in order to turn it into flutes phyto-gro, we only need to use this energetic infuser, which with some RF will turn it into flutes phyto-gro, which is the best version of the phyto-gro. This flutes phyto-gro, I'll be using it to grow the wood necessarily for this process, as well as maybe have one more of these phytogenic insulators for wood that I'll be using for crafting. Maybe also for some slime, as I think you can turn this into regular slime, I think. Yes, you can. So that will be also nice for regular slime. And we will also be using either the regular flutes phyto-gro or the regular phyto-gro in order to grow some flowers, which are fairly used on a lot of dissolving For example, we can use poppies to get the rose red dye, which we can use to get mercury sulfide, which can be used to get cinnabar, which we can use together with some glazing pyrotheum to get a bit more of resources from the raw version. Not only that, but Flute's phyto-gro will also allow us to grow ender pearls. This takes a lot of energy. This takes a lot of energy, but it's going to be quite a nice investment for the beginning. Unless we get a proper mod farm for endermans. That would be even better. Or even better using deep mob learning. But for now, I think it's going to be fine to get the first pieces of ender pearls. So this is all for phyto-gro. Now this one over here should be fairly simple to understand. There's really not much rocket science compared to all of this phyto-gro setup. So to start with, I want to use this BAM's pineapple pizza in order to produce energy. I feel pizzas are the best way of producing energy if we use the culinary generators from extra utils. There are also other ways of generating energy, which we are going to see most likely in the next episode. But to get started and to start our diversification of energy, let's start with pizzas. So the one I have in my hand, the BAM's pineapple pizza, it will produce 72,000 RF, burning it at 72 RF per tick if we don't have any speed upgrade. The idea is to have 4 speed upgrades per each culinary generator, which will turn that number up to 360 RF per tick. And that is quite better. Of course, I still need to do all of the culinary generators and all of the upgrades, but I am out of redstone, and I need a lot more of redstone for that. So I need to go mine again. But the next tier of pizza I would like to use is the Domino's Special, which will produce a whopping 126,934 RF per tick. Sorry, RF in total, at a 96 RF per tick ratio. That is quite a good number. Of course, the recipe is more complex. It's more complex compared to the BAM's pizza. So this requires stir bread, 1 cooked pork chop, 1 steak, 1 cooked chicken, 1 cooked mutton, and 2 mushrooms. I don't have any way of producing meat at the moment, so this is impossible for us to make. However, the BAM's pineapple pizza, we can use toasted bread in a T shape in order to get 4. The toasted bread we can get from cooking bread. We can get from cooking flour. And this flour we are going to get it from pulverizing wet, which is simply this all of this process. So this photogenic insulator will be used for the wet. This pulverizer will be for the flour. And then we will have 2 redstone furnaces with the trivection chamber, which will double the amount of food we are cooking in here in order to make the most out of our wet. And we will be using this crafter to craft all of this BAM pizza, and we will store it in this drawer. And that's all. That's all of that I want to do for this second half of the episode, which is quite. I think it's going to be quite a long episode now that I think of it. But yeah, now it's just me and mining again for a bit more of redstone. I will need like 13 stacks and a half of redstone for all of the things I want to do. That is a lot, and I think I will need a bit more even. So yeah, I'm going to the mines. And then I'll be back with all of these already completed and properly built it. So I finished wiring up everything. Everything has a flux duct for energy, and I've also installed Ethernet connections, so we can have logistics fairly simple. The logistics is just the same as I explained before, so there is nothing extra to explain. The difference is that now I've made 16 culinary generators. Maybe this is a bit overkill. Each culinary generator has a upgrade speed. Well, 4 of them. Now I said this is a bit overkill because we should be able to upgrade this speed upgrades into the magical version. which will allow us to have 16 upgrades per each machine. So I don't think we really need 16 of them. But for this is going to be fine to start with. But here I have my energy cell in Signalum, so we should be able just to grab it. And let's put it looking below. And yes, I only need to give energy to all of this. So we can set the input to the right and the output to the left. And all of the machines should be recharging right now. And these two should starting to produce sandstone and sand. These should starting to produce stone bricks. And what we can do now is put some phyto-gro, rich phyto-gro into this drawer, which hopefully should be extracted and converted into Flut's phyto-gro. And if everything goes right, the Flut's phyto-gro should go into these phytogenic insulators, but they are not going there. Why? It's because this has no energy, of course. Always remember to connect to energy to all of your machines. And now this should be working. It is. Very slow. We got the logs into the sawmill. We're producing the sawdust. And everything is going into these factorizers. Well, the pulverizer is going here. And the sawdust is not being extracted. Okay, that's weird. But we are getting the sawdust. It is cooking into charcoal. And this should accept from the bottom. And we are getting charcoal. It is going into the crafter. And it is crafting the phyto-gro. The phyto-gro is also going into this fluid transposer, which whenever it gets enough sap, it will be turned into rich phyto-gro and then into Flut's phyto-gro. And there is it. 12 phyto-gro. Now in this side it is also working, as we already have some phyto-gro. We are growing the wet. It is getting pulverized, then cooked again, and then crafted into Bam's pineapple pizzas. And this is getting stored in this frame drawer. And everything should be equally distributed. It's going to take a bit of time, but we should be producing a surplus of energy. That is it, energy from pizzas. So if we look at the quest, this line below here, we are not going to look at this in this episode. So we are just going to ignore it. Instead, we are going to get the 48 steel ingots, the energy sacrifice, and the water for Atom. So let's start getting some water for Atom, as I think this is going to take the most time. Now, which one to choose? Now, I've been given some task screens. Suppose if we place this, we can select the task. So 1,000 buckets of water, and we should be able to input water from here. Now, I want to know, how fast will this fill it up? Very slow. Very slow. So I think we should be using the aqueous accumulator instead. And set the aqueous accumulator somewhere here. I think that's how this works. Maybe I need to put it in the pool. Yes, it's in the pool. Not outside the pool. And we can use fluid docks to extract the water. And they should fill this one up a bit quicker. The next one we need to fill up is energy. And it's going to be quite easy. So let's activate this again. So let's set up a task screen up here. And this one will be 10 million FE. And we can set the output to the top. The output to the top. And yes, this should feel very quick. Because we have the 10 million RF that is required for this task. We can just observe this. Energy sacrifice. Now the water for Autumn should complete anytime soon. 8, 9, water for Autumn. Now we submitted water and energy. The last thing that we need is to submit some steel ingots. which should be fairly easy. Click to submit, and that is 48 steel ingots. And the gods of autumn smile upon you. And we get more receipts unlocked. You look stage energy. The gods of autumn smile upon you. So we should be able to go into the autumn right now, but I'm going to leave it for the end of the next episode, because there are some stuff I want to do around the base before keep progressing. After autumn, and after we get brown antimatter, we will be able to enter into deep mob evolution. Deep mob evolution is quite a nice mob, because it allows us to make simpler mob drops, mob loot farms. However, this requires a lot of energy, it is true. You already have a proper energy setup, but I don't think this is going to be enough. So most likely what we are going to be doing in the next episode is setting up a bunch of phytogenic insolators, then also making a bunch of passive processes for some molds that might be useful, especially those ones that comes from dyes. I also want to use lava to generate even more power, even more than what I am producing right now. And especially one of the most important things, I want to set up apply energy sticks. It is time. It is time to set up AE2. And after that, let's just improve ourselves a bit more, our equipment, and we are going to go to the autumn. So that's going to be the plan for the next episode. As always, if you're still here, thank you for watching, and I hope you have a better day, because it can always be better. And I'll see you on the next episode. Bye.